Hey, quick question here. Have you ever thought of a computer that is very small, very compact, that has all the ports you could possibly need in a modern computer, that is quite cheaper or significantly cheaper than your average PC or laptop today, and it is quite serviceable? Well, yeah, it does exist, and it is called a Raspberry Pi. Today, we will be talking about a Raspberry Pi. What is a Raspberry Pi? What is the history of it? What are the pros and cons? And what are the projects that can be used for home, for school, for work? So, let's go. What is a Raspberry Pi? It is a small single-board computer that is developed in the United Kingdom by the Raspberry Pi Foundation to promote teaching of basic computer science in schools and in developing countries. The Raspberry Pi is designed to run programs that can be designed to do nearly limitless variety of things. More on that later. The brief history of Raspberry Pi is it was developed by a UK-based charity. The idea was that the little computer could use to teach basic computer science. Students can load simple operating system in the computer, plug any peripherals such as mouse, keyboard, or any additional peripherals, and design and run simple programs on it. The idea worked, but also sparked interest outside of the academic community. A simple, cheap little computer has a lot of uses. The hobbyists found tons of ways to use the little device. There are a few pros and cons in buying a Raspberry Pi. The pros are you can do a lot of things, a lot of projects using the right components, the right parts, the right code or programs to run with it. It is way cheaper than our average PC laptops that we use every day. Mm, it is very pocketable or very small, yes. And the cons are it is not as powerful as the PC that we use. The parts or the components that is being soldered in the board is not user replaceable, and if you buy a Raspberry Pi, there is no peripherals included such as a mouse or a keyboard or any components. The specs of the Raspberry Pi 3, particularly the Model B, is quite a handful considering that it is very small. So let's start with the chip. The chip that they are using is a Broadcom BCM2837. It runs at 1.2 GHz. It's a quad-core processor, 64-bit. It only has 1 gig of RAM. The storage that is being used is a micro SD card, and it is only weighing 42 grams. The video card that they are using is a 400 megahertz dual-core video core for GPU. It supports a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. It also has 4 USB 2.0 ports. It has an HDMI port. It also has a DSI display port and a CSI camera port. And it has a 40-pin GPIO. It supports 802.11n Wi-Fi, and it has Bluetooth 4.1 technology included. It also has an Ethernet port. The official supported operating systems for the Raspberry Pi is Raspbian and Noobs. Now we will compare all 12 models of the Raspberry Pi. Here is the direct comparison between 12 models of the Raspberry Pi. We'll go each one by one. So the first two rows are about the same. They have the same SoC, the same speed, the same RAM, the same wireless and Bluetooth. But they have different such as USB ports and Ethernet. The Model A Plus only has one. The Raspberry Pi Model B Plus has 4, and the A Plus doesn't have the Ethernet connection. Meanwhile, the B Plus, it has 100 WST. It means it has a networking standard which supports 100 megabytes per second. Next, the third and fourth row is they have different SoCs. They have the speed is different, 900 megahertz versus 1.2 megahertz. The RAM is only one. They both have same RAM. They both have 4 USB ports. They both have Ethernet connection, 100 WC. But the Model B doesn't have wireless connection and doesn't have Bluetooth. Meanwhile, the Model B does have AO2, 11N, and 4.1 Bluetooth technology. Here, there is a Model A Plus, Raspberry Pi, Model A Plus, and Model B Plus. They both have the same SoC, the same speed, but different RAM, 512 gigabytes versus 1 gigabyte. This different USB ports. The Model A Plus only has 1 and the other one has 4. The Ethernet, it doesn't have connection. The other one contains or has 1000 BSD. Both has wireless AO211 AC and they both have 4.2 Bluetooth technology. In Raspberry Pi 4, there are 4 models, 3 models, excuse me. They both have the same SoCs, same speed, but different RAM. One has 1 gigabyte option, 2 gigabyte, and 4 gigabyte, and the rest is the same. They have 2 times USB 2 and 2 times USB 3. They have 1000 BSD, 102 11 AC, and they have 3. The 3 has the same, and the Bluetooth connection is instead of 4.2, they have 5.0, the latest. And lastly, the last 3 is Raspberry Pi Zero, the Raspberry Pi Zero W, and Raspberry Pi Zero WH. They have the same SoC, same speed, same RAM, same ports, USB port. They don't have the Ethernet connection. The Raspberry Pi Zero doesn't have wireless connection, but the Zero W and Zero WH has 802.11n, both of them, and the Raspberry Pi Zero doesn't have Bluetooth connection. Meanwhile, the Zero W and Zero WH has 4.1. So there it is, all the direct comparison between all of them. All 12 Raspberry Pi models. There are many projects using Raspberry Pi that can be found in the internet. These are among my favorites. Number 4, build an AI assistant. I like it because you can able to ask certain questions to the assistant and they'll answer back to you, such as what is the weather today or tomorrow, the traffic, etc. Next is motion capture security system. This is quite helpful, especially when you're not at home, then you left your kids or pets behind. You'll be able to monitor them through a phone or a computer, and you'll be able to know if someone is snooping around in your house. Next is Raspberry Pi Wi-Fi extender. I like it because it's quite helpful, especially if the Wi-Fi connection doesn't connect or reach all areas in the house, especially upstairs. Having an extender is quite helpful. Lastly is retro gaming machine, because why not? Being able to play games, old games when you were young, and bring back nostalgia in your life. The new Raspberry Pi 4 is out and there are a lot of changes. There are a lot of improvements from the last Raspberry Pi, the Raspberry Pi 3. Many people thought that the Raspberry Pi 4 will launch next year, but thanks to Broadcom, they able to move the launch earlier than expected because of the success of the past models. The Raspberry Pi 4 has a huge upgrade in CPU compared to the Raspberry Pi 3. Previously, we had a Cortex A53 quad-core CPU. In the 4, we have a new Cortex A72, and according to the testings, the RPI 4 or Raspberry Pi 4 is 3 times faster than the previous model. There is also a new 2 USB 3.0, a new 2 gigabit internet, and the new standard in Bluetooth, which is 5.0, can be found in the Raspberry Pi 4. But one of the great options now in buying the Raspberry Pi 4 is you have three options, a 1GB, 2GB, and 4GB model. There is no full HDMI port in the Raspberry Pi 4 unlike the Raspberry Pi 3, but it has two micro HDMI, and it means you can power two monitors at the same time. There is also no micro USB for powering the new Raspberry Pi 4. It has a USB Type-C that draws more power to the board, and it helps, especially it has two new USB 3 and can power two monitors simultaneously. Overall, the Raspberry Pi 4 has the same footprint and design as the previous model, but there are new changes such as a new port or new ports. So here's the model. As you can see, we have a new powerful processor. We also have three choices of RAM, 1GB, 2GB, and a 4GB model. We also have USB 3, two ports. We also have two micro HDMI ports that supports two monitor. Then we have a new USB-C that powers the Raspberry Pi 4, replacing the micro USB from the previous model. As you can see, this is the spec sheet of the three models of the Raspberry Pi 4. They have the same SoC, the same speed, the same ports, the same wireless connection, and the same Bluetooth connection, but they have different RAM capacities. We have a 1GB, 2GB, and 4GB, and that's about it. So that is all for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Feel free to give it a thumbs up. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.